The popularity of Fallout games absolutely exploded alongside the massively successful Fallout TV show. And you can see that an old game like Fallout New Vegas almost matched its all-time peak player count. Its all-time peak player count 14 years ago was 51,038, and you can see that by April 22nd, they'd hit 45,000 concurrent players. We're not talking just 45,000 players, that's concurrent, logged into the game all at the same time on Steam. And you can see that April 15th, it was at 43,000. Now, it's been trailing off a bit since then, but it's still way above where it was sitting, where it was around, 4, 5, 6,000 concurrent players at a time, which, by the way, is still pretty good for a single-player game from 14 years ago. But anyway, popularity exploded along with outcries over the AMD drivers in the game. This is a viewer email I received back in May, a couple of weeks ago, where I had a viewer saying, is there any way you could shed some light on the fact that neither Fallout 3 or New Vegas is playable on any current AMD driver from this year? It seems wildly negligent, and I don't hear enough people putting light on it to get a real fix from AMD. Thank you very much. I replied at the time that I was wrapping up a busy school year, didn't have time to look at it at that time, but I'd get around to it when I did. And now I have that time. I also asked for more details on the issues to see if I could replicate them. The detailed issues are starting with Fallout 3. It simply won't launch and then freezes up on the PC, and you have to restart the PC. New Vegas will start and let you to the title screen. You can hit continue. Then you get the screen with the roulette table. That's like a loading screen. It spins once, then the game just crashes to desktop. It also said that Fallout 4 acts like it launches, then your mouse gets stuck in a small invisible box on the screen. You have to use Task Manager to get it to stop or restart the PC. The latest driver that does work is from last December. Okay, so that's the claimed issues. Now, I have to be careful when I talk about AMD graphics driver issues, because this is a very hot button topic in the graphics card reviewer space, because AMD had a reputation for many years as having less driver stability compared to NVIDIA. However, that reputation has been getting much better over the last couple of generations. AMD's 6000 series and 7000 series have generally, seem to, again, work on repairing that reputation compared to like their 5000 series and some of their earlier days, which is good, but that doesn't mean that there aren't still graphics drivers issues at times, and we're getting this report that this is an issue, and it's not just this viewer sending me an email. I've looked into it. You can find a whole bunch of Reddit threads and things like that. Like here's one at AMD Help subreddit, where they are basically saying that AMD software versions 24.1.1 and 24.2.1 both cause hair issues on Fallout New Vegas. Talking about other issues getting it to work, asking for spread the word, get AMD to try to work on this stuff. So what am I going to do in this video? Well, first, let's confirm that this actually is a problem that I can replicate. So here I am trying to start up Fallout New Vegas on an RX 7700 XT, and on the latest driver version, 24.5.1, and this was today, June 12th, 2024, as of filming, and you can see that the game does actually try to start up. My capture card loses signal for just a second, but the game does start. You can try to continue your recent game save. The problem is it does hit, as the viewer said, this roulette wheel loading screen, and then the game just crashes. I lose signal, the game crashes. This is repeatable. Now, is this an AMD problem or is it a game problem, right? Is it a driver issue or is it a game issue? Well, I did fire up the an older version of the drivers because I was told that driver version from December of last year did work. So I downloaded the 23.12.1 driver, so the December driver from last year, fired up the same game on my 7700 XT, and you can see as we kind of skip ahead, it does seem to load. We get to this, and now we're actually in the game, and it is up and running. So we can confirm that Fallout New Vegas was working on AMD drivers as of December of last year. However, on the latest driver version, it is not working. The game will crash. It will not load. By the way, these are completely vanilla versions of the game that I just installed. No mods, nothing. It's just the just the base game trying to get it to run. and unfortunately it has died. So we can confirm that it seems to be an issue. However, we should also confirm that we're not having issues on NVIDIA GPUs right now on the current version of the game and drivers. So I also popped in a 4060 Ti, which is the fairly comparable card to the 7700 XT, so similar generation and price point. Latest NVIDIA drivers, and here we are trying to start up the game. And again, I can confirm it is actually up and running. So we can confirm this is an AMD driver issue that was introduced sometime within the last year. And apparently I started a firefight with the population here. Anyway, whatever, that's what happens. Sorry, getting distracted by the gameplay. Now, so this was an AMD driver issue introduced within the last year, last several months actually, since December, and that does seem to be the case. Now, can I reproduce the other issue that I got in the email with Fallout 4? Fallout 4, I actually fired up on my 7700 XT, and in the few minutes I played the game, I didn't play it for hours or anything like that, I had no issues. Game seemed to be running absolutely flawlessly. Now, one thing I will mention is that Fallout 4 was recently updated because it was kind of giving a current gen console with new performance modes and things like that, and the PC version got updated along with that. And that may have happened, I forget the exact date that happened, so that might have been after the email complaint. So it's possible that the latest patch to Fallout 4 solved whatever issue may have been occurring. But I was not able to replicate the Fallout 4 problem that was requested I look into with the email. So Fallout 4 seems to be working just fine. So where are we at with things? Well, one thing is, if you look at the latest AMD driver patch notes, it does seem to be the case that they are at least aware of the problem. Because if you scroll down to their known issues section, it does say that Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas may fail to launch as a known issue, and that there is a hotfix pending. However, that's been a couple of weeks now, and so the timing on this is a bit rough, because if you look at, like I said, the explosion in popularity for the game happened back in mid-April. It's been about 2 full months since this game started spiking in popularity again, and you can see that the popularity is dipping back down, meaning that the amount of time it's taking for this issue to be identified and fixed, it still isn't fixed. They've just said that they're working on a fix, they're verifying a fix, is a bit frustrating. So that is definitely a problem. There is a problem. I'm highlighting that AMD is aware of it. What can come of my video? Well, hopefully you can learn a couple of things. First of all, if you're having issues with this, I showed that this does work on older driver versions. So if you go back to an older driver version, you can seem to get the game up and running. Also, hopefully this will maybe fire up, if anybody at AMD sees this, please fix. If you've got a hot fix out there, waiting for verification, let's make some movement on that before the interest in the game is gone, right? So that would be good. Now, the last thing I want to mention is let's not, again, the whole AMD versus NVIDIA driver situation. I'm highlighting a particular game. In any particular game, you could have NVIDIA driver issues or AMD driver issues, and looking at one piece of evidence from one game is not a definitive answer on, who has the more stable drivers. That was not the intention of this video. In order to do something like that, I've actually tried to think about how could I, as a reviewer, look more into depth into AMD versus NVIDIA driver stability, and I just can't see a way I could do that where I could try to actually say that I'm doing anything that's statistically significant. Because what do you look at? Which of the tens of thousands of PC games do you actually sample from, right? Do I pull some random sample of some number? Like, how much can one independent reviewer test? I could test at most dozens of games, not tens of thousands of games, right? And then on which graphics cards, on which driver versions, on which what other software is running on the PC, what version of Windows, all of that. I can't see a way where I could reasonably give any kind of definitive testing on which drivers are more stable. I can say that in my personal use, I tend to not run into many driver issues on either AMD or NVIDIA, although I do occasionally see issues on both. However, I will also say that my personal use tends to be the more recent, AAA releases that would probably get a lot of attention for making sure the drivers are up and running from the big, GPU makers. Whereas maybe going back to older games like these, might be where you'd see more of those differences, is maybe in the older game support. But again, which ones do I look at, right? Fallout recently surged in popularity kind of randomly, so that highlighted this issue. I don't know where to go with this to try to do a more definitive video answer. Everybody has their own anecdotal evidence, right? But what's statistically significant, right? I don't see a way I could get a statistically significant answer to you. So anyway, it is what it is. Hopefully this at least highlights the issues with Fallout. Hopefully AMD responds and gets that out and fixed. And if you're currently experiencing these issues, like I said, reverting to an older graphics driver does seem to help. Hopefully you guys found the video useful and or interesting, and I hope all of you have an excellent day.